Sis, trust no one at work. And I mean no one. If you think these coworkers are your friends, think again, my friend, because I was set up, thrown under the bus, and fired all before I saw it coming. And I want to make sure that I share today with you what happened to me so that it never happens to you. Okay, so we're going to get into when I'm going to take you back to 2016 ish, when I was actually first starting out in business at the same time. So I was just beginning the early stages of business. It hadn't grown into anything yet. I didn't even know what I was doing yet. So in the meantime, I was still working on corporate America. And it took me a while to land a job. I was in a new area. I had moved from West Coast to East Coast. I was living in an area where I was able to finally get a job, my dream job, an ideal job with a corporate giant in the healthcare space. I mean, it was everything I ever thought it would be, everything I ever wanted in a job. And it was meaningful work. And I really appreciated that they hired me and I finally got my foot in the door. This is a company that is a Fortune 500 company, very well known, prestigious healthcare organization, and they are nationwide. And I'm like, yes, I landed the damn thing. I actually did it. I'm here now. It's only up from here. And it wasn't. It actually was my downfall. It was the beginning of my downfall, actually, when it came to corporate America. And so I thought I was going to be hired at this place and it was going to be the biggest win ever. I felt like on top of the world. I celebrated. It was just everything, right? And then everything seemed really good at first. I mean, it was great money, great benefits. I had some flexibility, some autonomy. It was a pretty much a role where it was like a telephonic position, but I was able to travel to different locations. I was really able to demonstrate and showcase my talent and my skills. And all the years I've been in corporate America kind of like led up to this particular role. But then early on, the red flags started to appear. And you know how you have a gut feeling about something and you intuitively you know something's off, but you're not quite sure what it is. You can't quite pinpoint it yet. So you just kind of let it slide. You keep observing, but you're kind of like making excuses or you're in such la la land, or maybe not la la land because I wasn't that, but you're kind of in that early honeymoon phase. And so the excitement is there and it almost overshadows what's really going down in the background because you're not really paying attention to all the details you should be. So you kind of like let those red flags slide at first, but you're still watching, you're paying attention nonetheless. And so I noticed that these little things were going on that were starting to add up to big things, like the company's corporate structure and their policies and procedures. And when I would ask questions about certain things, about why we're doing things the way we're doing them, what's the rationale behind it, like what's really going on, and why are things put in place the way they are, they didn't even have a leg to stand on. I mean, that's what policies are for, actually. When you are asking questions that are related to a particular thing that they're asking you to do that you don't feel comfortable doing, and you're like, let me see a policy on that, because that policy should support what they're asking you to do. Like this is a part of their protocol. Well, they didn't have a policy in place, which means they didn't have a leg to stand on. Yet the expectations for you to do the thing was still there. So make that make sense. And then their training protocols were off. It just was, there were too many red flags, right? And so I had this uneasy feeling. And again, I knew something was off. I started questioning things, and it turns out I was actually right. Something was very wrong. Okay. Um, I really should have trusted my gut, my instinct, right? We always get that little tap on the shoulder, the little whisper in the ear. That's the time to listen. The minute I started questioning things, guess what happened? I became the target. The target was now on my back. You know how it goes. You are now a problematic person. You are no longer a team player. You are now going to be treated like the redhead stepchild because we don't trust you, because we thought you were on our side, that we thought you were with us. Okay. Then there began the backstabbing. Okay. My coworker, who I'm just getting to know as we are both getting acclimated into our roles, learning, getting familiar with how things are done around here. It turns out that we started off supporting each other and sharing things with each other and being on the same team. Okay. But then when things got a little tough, when her back was against the wall, when she realized that our jobs perhaps could be jeopardized because we were given a lot of pushback, oh, she switched things up. Oh no, that friendship, she did a flip flop real quick. Okay. She wasn't even the same person. And so just suddenly stopped communicating with me. She started distancing herself from me. She wasn't answering calls. She wasn't returning, responding to text messages, emails, nothing. Okay. She was the main one giving pushback. She was the main one pushing me to give pushback. And so we were supposed to be in this thing together. But then I noticed she started to side with management in a sneaky way, though. Oh, she was clever about it for sure. Yeah, real cutthroat like. But it was starting to be noticeable. I wasn't really sure at first what was going on, but the signs were always there. So you got to pay attention to the signs. Okay. The moment I realized that she sold me out to save herself, to make sure that she had a paycheck coming in and she didn't really give a damn about what happened to me and how that might affect my family, my livelihood, my household. Nope, that wasn't her concern at all. So, sis, your coworkers are not your friends, okay? They will smile in your face and stab you in the back. Then they'll throw you to the wolves and just whatever they got to do to keep their own paycheck. They will sell you out. Understand me. They will. So here's the setup. This is how they fired me without any warning. And there's a few things that went on. They gave me the day off. That wasn't anything unusual. They were working through this pilot program and trying to figure it out. And while they were figuring it out, the other end of that was there wasn't enough work for us to do, or they didn't know where they were going to place us physically or what have you. I decided to show up anyway, just on site, working in a centralized location in the corporate headquarters, and they weren't expecting me that day. And I'm glad I went because I would have been none the wiser had I not. So I go in and I, of course, take my badge. That's how we enter the buildings, the office buildings and whatnot. That's how we get on site. That's how we get in the gate, all of that. A security officer was there, so I was able to get in the gate. So I wasn't clued in yet. But then when I was trying to get into the office building, it turns out that I was locked out. That was the first clue. Why am I locked out? I've never been locked out. What's wrong with my badge? Okay, things happen. Technical error, maybe, systems down, a glitch. I don't know. So I get somebody to open the office building for me. No problem. Nothing was weird. Nothing was off. Nothing was out of the ordinary. So I go set up, getting ready to work, to get into my computer, to work on some work related stuff. And lo and behold, I'm locked out. My password's not working. So I called IT. IT transferred me directly, straight away to HR. I knew at that point something was up because why is HR going to be involved with this? This is a technical component. This is something IT typically handles. Okay. So when they're transferring you to HR, you already know that's another red flag. Okay. My alerts are high now. I'm like, okay. I think I know what's going on here. But I'm an optimist. Okay, hard optimist. I'm like, okay, let me give them a chance. Like, who knows what this is really about? Maybe it's not what I think, just maybe. Okay. So we set up a meeting. I go into the meeting. Yeah, it was what I was thinking. That was a third red flag. And I'm here to tell you that when you are noticing all of these red flags adding up, leading up to your termination, like you already have to be putting on your thinking cap and being strategic about your next best move, sis. You know what I'm saying? So I was blindsided. I'm not going to lie, because I allowed them to get the best of me because I wasn't quite sure what was going on and I wasn't as prepared as I could have, would have, and should have been. Sound familiar? So I walk in basically into an ambush, blindsided, like I said. It was a termination meeting. Let's just get right to it, okay? Everybody's dancing around the truth of what it is. Like, what are we doing here? Just say what you got to say and give me my walk in papers. They didn't ask any questions. They didn't give me any, they gave me a lame explanation. I'll just say that, okay? It wasn't anything I could really rebuttal. And the bottom line is they made sure they did me real dirty, and that was to blacklist me nationwide. So I said at the beginning of this story that they actually have their nationwide, they're big, huge, massive corporation, okay? Very well known. And they decided, no, you're not only going to not work here at this physical location, but you're not going to work anywhere at any of our locations across the nation. How's that for backstabbing? How's that for the ultimate corporate betrayal? How's that for like good looking out, sis? You know what I'm saying? Like, how, why is that fair? How is that right? It wasn't. And the only reason why it was legal is because they had it, and it wasn't necessarily that it was legal, it's just that they had it written in their policy. And that was one of the things out of all the things that I'd asked about when I said, well, let me see it with my own two eyes. They showed me, and there it was in a small clause, read the fine print, a code that if you're in your probationary or introductory period, same thing, okay? That if you don't make it through, they have a right to code 1 through 10, let's just say. And if you get a particular code, that code then coincides with you not being able to work for them anymore. In other words, you're not eligible for rehire. Not that I would have ever gone back to this company per se, but I mean, I wasn't counting the company out altogether simply because of this particular position didn't work out well for me. You know what I mean? I would have still liked to have had the opportunity to say, well, if they were willing to work with me, well, okay, so it didn't work out for you in this particular role, but you have an opportunity to transfer after it's typically, you got to work there at least 6 months or longer, right? And then you can do a lateral transfer. Nope, they didn't even give me that opportunity, which was really jacked up. So I was like, okay, I got your number. Okay, I see what's going on here. And this is how we gonna play it. This how you want to play your cards. Okay, cool. But that's going to come back for you. I don't got to do nothing to you. I ain't got to wish no ill will on you. I ain't got to, make no little voodoo doll on any of you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to do any of that. I don't have to do any of that. Karma is a real thing. The law of attraction is a real thing. And that's going to come back to haunt you. And one of the women, well, two, the union rep and the HR rep were both women of color. And they very well, I asked them, I said, so it's really entirely up to you to change the code. You don't have to necessarily code it. Is that correct? And they said, yeah, that's true. But the reason why we are is because my boss, who was also in there sitting in the hot seat, sweating practically, looking extremely uncomfortable. She couldn't even look me in my eye. She mostly let them do the talking, let them do her dirty work. And by the way, she was a white woman, of course. And so didn't even have the guts to tell me to my face that I was terminated. She let them do the talking for her. Anyway, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. I'm not even going to get into the depth of the conversation and the things I actually said to her, but I read her rights and the rest of them too. So it was up to her, even in that moment while we sat there at that meeting, for her to take the opportunity to say, well, maybe that's a little bit harsh. Maybe that's a steep consequence. Okay, maybe I'm doing the most. Like, I don't necessarily have to have them, based on my write up or my corrective action plan or whatever the hell. She didn't have to go there, but she did. And she refused to change it. So best believe that came back for her. It did. Because what you do to people, good, bad, or indifferent, is already done to you. So I am solid that it came back for her. And the rest of them who stood there and did nothing. What was the point of the union rep even doing? What was the point of her even being there? Why was she even present? She was no help at all. It was like she was there to just hear the latest gossip so she can go back to tell her coworkers and the other people, in the building, in her department, and in my department, ooh, what the scoop was, what went down. You know what I mean? You just have those feelings, and I know that's what happened, and that's cool because, like I said, that's coming back for them. And so I walked in thinking I was going to work that day, but I left unemployed. How's that for being blindsided? But I can't only tell you how much peace I was at. I really and truly was. A peace truthfully overcame me. While you would have thought I would have just been in a panic and, giving pushback and being pissed off and giving them a piece of my mind and all of that, I was like, cool, because God got me. And He did. Because at this time, like I said, I mentioned earlier, I started my business. And at that time, I also wrote a book that became a bestseller. Okay. I wrote my first best-selling book in the same year. Okay. Or actually, yeah, I wrote the book that year. And then, like, just a few weeks later, once I just kind of let that go, because that was really hindering the progress I needed to make in business and other aspects of my business and some of the areas where I was branching off from my business. But I started getting invited to speaking engagements, joint venture partnerships, big name brands, brand deals, best-selling book. We launched that. We went on a speaking tour. Like, it was just fantastic. And so when I say God had me, He did. And sometimes what I want you to know from the lessons that I've learned, that's number one, is that man's rejection is often God's protection and His redirection. I thought that was supposed to be my dream job, right? My ideal career in corporate America. And perhaps if it really truly was, if it panned out that way, would I have still been there? Would I have stayed? I don't know. I mean, I always have been, for at least the last decade or so, maybe 15 years, a parallelpreneur. But would I have continued to defer my dreams? Or would I have made the decision to go all in? I don't know. If I was that comfortable in that role with this big healthcare corporation, this big, company, right? My ideal dream job, would I have stayed there? Would I have still been there? Would I be right now feeling trapped because I didn't let it go early on? Like, sometimes we just need to listen and pay attention to what we're feeling in our souls and what's really happening in real time. So pay attention to the red flags and pay attention to what you're feeling here and what you're logically thinking here. Like, you pay attention to the details. Your spirit will speak to you. That spirit is God, right? Pay attention to the whispers. Pay attention to the taps on the shoulders. Pay attention to the push. Like, who was that? What just happened here? Pay attention to the signs. Okay? And trust no one at work. No one. Coworkers will always save their own behinds, okay? They will always save themselves first. When it comes down to choosing between you and them, oh, best believe they're going to choose themselves every time. Never is anybody going to stick their neck out for you. Think about it. They got their own family, their own household, their own expenses. Is it right? No, it isn't. But we're not talking about, necessarily what's right or wrong. We're talking about it is what it is. This is how it goes, right? Maybe you would be that person that would stick your neck out for somebody. Maybe you would be that person to fend for somebody else. Maybe you would be someone who would protect them and you wouldn't throw them under the bus or to the wolves. Maybe that is you. But there are many more people out in this world who are not like you, who are not like me, because I wouldn't have done that to her either. But they will sell you out. Okay. Always, the other lesson I want you to pick up on is always, always, always document everything. Everything. Did I say everything? I mean it. Okay? The time, the place, the people, the color, the who, the how, the what, the when, the why, the where, everything. Because you never know when you're going to need that documentation. Okay? You never know to cover your own back, your own butt, or both. Okay? And the biggest thing that I want you to take away from this message today is to have your own side business. See, it was a real good thing that I'd done for myself. I didn't know the timing would line up the way it did, right? It was the ultimate timing, right? I had no idea I would be walking into a situation like this. And yet I was already being prepared and groomed for this day. And so that is why there was a sense of peace that overcame me. That is why I felt cool, like, y'all do you, I'ma do me. God's got my back. I don't know who's got yours because y'all dancing with the devils. You done signed up with the wrong one, and I ain't the one, okay? I'm God's child. So remember who you are and whose you are. And I was like, y'all gonna miss out on me because I'm a whole vibe, okay? And I come with a lot. I'm a huge asset to you. You're losing out. You're losing a valuable employee. That was truly the attitude I had. Y'all are losing out on the most valuable employee here. And they knew it. And you can tell I sensed that my boss really wanted to take it back, but she had something to prove. You see, she couldn't, she made all this big whole ordeal, brought it all the way to HR, lied about me, wrote up this false narrative about me, created this PIP that she never presented to me, performance improvement plan, never gave me an opportunity to fix any problem because I didn't even know problems existed, like real problems. And so, you know, it was just meant to be. It was time for me to go because God has something bigger planned for me, bigger blessings. So I had to be burdened by that situation temporarily because, as I always say, your job is just a temporary assignment. It is not the permanent and real work you're here to do. So always have something set up on the side, like a side business. Okay, not a side hustle, not a side gig. We're not trying to be busy, bogged down, and burned out with a bunch of different busyness of what entrepreneurship can bring. We are talking about a real sustainable side business that you can grow into a huge empire if you know exactly what you're doing or have the right steps or get a coach, a mentor, a business coach like myself who can actually help you do just that. So those are my takeaways for you today. Okay. You don't ever want to put yourself in a position like I did, but thank God I was prepared for it when that day came so that I never had to solely be dependent on a job again. And I don't want that for you either. I want you to be dependent on you. So create additional revenue streams for yourself. Okay. Freelance work is a great way. I have plenty of videos here, by the way. You can, search around, take a look, window shop, okay, and see what's applicable to your current situation. I'm about meeting you where you are in the journey. So make sure that you take a look around here, subscribe to my channel if you're not yet subscribed so you don't ever miss a single episode whenever I drop new videos or go live, okay? But be prepared right now. Start getting your ducks in a row. And that means starting or growing, continuing if you've stopped that side business that you once started and didn't get back to. Okay. Find out how you can actually generate consistent, predictable income so you can eventually walk away from that job and give them your walking papers when you're ready to do it on your terms, not the other way around. Because you know what? They held the power, unfortunately. But, as far as letting me go and blacklisting me and all of that, there was nothing I could do. Nothing. And I did call just out of curiosity, like few years later went by. I was just curious to know, were they just saying that to kind of like scare me out of like ever attempting to find work again in that arena? No, they were telling the truth. And they still to this day have that same rule that applies. So I'm just saying, I'm just so thankful so grateful that I'm in a position, a very strong financial position now because I made the decision to bet on me. Okay. And I started that business and I didn't stop even when I was working in that environment. In any other corporate job I've ever held, I continue to build my business and my brand. And now I can be the CEO of my life. And that's how that works. I want you to be the CEO of your life. Don't make the mistakes that I made. Take heed to what I'm saying. I need you to have a backup plan because corporate, they have none for you. No backup plan, nor do they care what happens after they cut you. Okay? So you need to learn how to cut the corporate cord to corporate America. You know what I'm saying? And become the CEO of you, your business, your brand, and your life. And you know what? That doesn't require any more degrees, any more debt from the degrees you've already pursued. Okay. And it doesn't require you to be disappointed any longer. All you have to do is download my quick start guide, how to cut the corporate cord, and learn my 7 simple steps as to how you right now can start transitioning out of corporate America and become the CEO of your business, your brand, and your life. Grab your copy of that today. And if you need a customized plan, do understand, do know that I'm here for you to help you whenever you're needing the help. Okay. If that's right now, then let's go ahead and get on a call. I'll go ahead and leave a link in the pinned comment. It's also in the description box below so that you can decide which one of these time slots will work for you, what you need right now. Again, I'm about meeting you where you are in the journey. So you'll find a few different options to choose from. So go ahead and take your pick and reserve your spot today. Okay. Now, listen, if you're ready to cut the corporate cord, let me know in the comments below. And if you're getting value from this video and all of my content here, if you're not new, and if you are, welcome. And if you're not, welcome back. But make sure that you let me know that you are actually getting value from my videos. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you are, do be sure that you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Okay, I really don't want you to miss any episode that might be applicable to where you are, especially if you need the help. Okay, so drop a fire emoji in the chat. No, matter of fact, drop a red flag today. I'm wearing red. We talking about red flags. Drop a red flag emoji in the chat if you're just done over corporate America, okay? And everything it comes with. Let me know in the chat. Also, let me know if you have experienced any workplace betrayal, or if you know somebody who has, maybe a coworker, a colleague, a family member, a friend, your biz bestie, your entrepreneur entourage, anybody, somebody, everybody, let me know. And if they can benefit from this video, be sure to share this video out, okay? Again, grab your copy of my guide. These are your steps, okay? These are the next steps you need to take. If you need customized plan, blueprint, roadmap, get on a call with me, and you're going to find that information below. And subscribe to my channel. Those are the 3 things I need you to do. Now, if you found this video helpful, that's great. I'm going to tune out while you tune in. Be sure to share this video out with at least 3 friends. As always, and until next time, I am wholeheartedly in this journey with you. Bye for now.